They tell you a comforting story everywhere. Women are leaving because men aren't good enough. Men don't communicate. Men don't help at home. Men don't meet emotional needs. So she wakes up, walks out, and finally finds freedom. It sounds heroic. It also skips the ending, because if leaving was the cure, the women who left would be thriving. They would be glowing. They would feel lighter, clearer, more alive. Yet a pattern keeps showing up in real conversations. Many women leave decent relationships and still aren't happy 6 months later, not 1 year later, not even years later. The dissatisfaction follows them like a shadow packed into the suitcase. Today, I'm not here to attack women or defend men. I'm here to point at a mechanism most people are too afraid to say out loud. Sometimes, the problem is not the man. Sometimes, the problem is the way modern culture trains the female mind to interpret normal discomfort as evidence of a wrong life. Let's be honest about what's happening. Many women are initiating breakups and divorces, even when there is no abuse and no cheating. On paper, the relationship looks fine. He works, he shows up, he's loyal, he's not perfect, but he is trying. And still she feels a quiet emptiness, a sense that something is missing, a belief that this can't be all there is. The mainstream explanation is simple. Men failed. Men got lazy. Men stopped courting. Men expect a woman to work a full day and then come home to a second shift while he becomes a piece of furniture on the couch. And yes, some men do exactly that. Some relationships are genuinely unbalanced. That's real. But here's the question nobody wants to ask, because it breaks the moral storyline. If men are the problem, then leaving men should solve the problem. Basic logic. Leave the lazy man, feel satisfied. Leave the emotionally unavailable man, feel secure. Yet what we see instead is dissatisfaction spreading into other rooms of life. Career, friendships, mental health, family, identity. When the same emotion shows up everywhere, the diagnosis is weak. Think of it like this. 2 people eat the same meal at the same restaurant. One says it was great. The other says it was disappointing. Same food, same service, same reality. Different internal processing, different expectations, different lens. The experience is filtered before it is felt. Now, zoom out. Modern women are raised with a very specific promise. You can have it all, and you should feel fulfilled while you have it. Your partner should be your best friend, your therapist, your protector, your equal, your cheerleader, your intellectual match. He should be emotionally available but never needy, ambitious but always present, strong but gentle, exciting but stable, supportive but not boring. He should read your mind, anticipate your moods, and keep the spark alive forever. That isn't a partner. That is a fictional character built from rom-coms, TikToks, and therapy speak. So when a real human fails to deliver a fantasy, she doesn't say, "This is normal limitation." She says, "I'm settling." And modern culture treats settling like a spiritual sin. It turns leaving into a right of self-respect. Here's the cruel math. Satisfaction is reality minus expectation. If expectations are modest, reality can exceed them. If expectations are astronomical, reality will always fall short, even if the man is good. This is where the mind commits its biggest error: attribution. The dissatisfaction is real, but the explanation for why is often wrong. The mind wants a cause, so it assigns one. If she's in a relationship, the relationship must be the cause. If she's in a city, the city must be the cause. If she's in a job, the job must be the cause. The target changes, the feeling stays, and social media makes this worse. It teaches her to compare a real relationship to a highlight reel. It shows curated vacations, curated proposals, curated soft life fantasies. It sells the idea that happiness is a permanent state you unlock by choosing the right man. So every normal day starts to look like failure. Every quiet week becomes evidence. Every argument becomes prophecy. Every moment of boredom becomes a verdict. Here's a framework that helps. Weather versus climate. Your day-to-day emotions are weather. They fluctuate. Some weeks you feel close. Some weeks you feel distant. Some days you're annoyed. Some days you're grateful. That is normal. That is weather. But the climate is the long pattern. Do you function well together? Do you repair conflict? Do you grow? Do you feel safe enough to be honest? If the climate is generally warm, a cold front isn't proof you should burn the house down. Yet many women are trained to treat weather as climate. One bad Tuesday becomes evidence that the relationship is doomed. One dull season becomes proof she chose wrong. One wave of anxiety becomes a sign she should listen to her intuition and leave. Intuition is powerful, but it can also also be hijacked by expectations, trauma, and constant comparison. So she leaves. The first months can feel euphoric. No compromises, no negotiations. I chose myself. But then freedom starts feeling like emptiness. The silence that once felt peaceful starts feeling heavy. Independence that felt empowering starts feeling like isolation. And then she notices something terrifying. The dissatisfaction didn't stay in the relationship. It moved with her because she didn't escape a cage. She removed furniture from a room, and now she's standing in an empty space, wondering why it doesn't feel like home. This is why the conversation around women leaving is missing the sharpest truth. Leaving cannot fix an internal pattern. If a woman is trained to chase a feeling, constant excitement, constant validation, constant emotional elevation, then every environment eventually becomes not enough. And when life is always not enough, the mind needs a target. First it blames the man, then it blames the job, then the city, then the friends, until one night she's staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., asking the question nobody prepared her for. What if the discomfort I keep running from is not out there? And there's another layer most people ignore: temperament. Some people naturally feel more intensity, more worry, more sensitivity to what could be better. That isn't evil, it's wiring. But if nobody teaches you how to regulate it, you will outsource regulation to your environment. You will expect the relationship to constantly fix your internal state, and when it can't, you conclude the relationship is broken. That is why the most dangerous advice is simplest. If you're unhappy, leave. Sometimes leaving is the correct move, but if you never learn to make peace with imperfect reality, you keep changing scenes while carrying the same mind. That question is the real starting point. Not blame, not gender wars, but accuracy, because you can't heal what you misdiagnose, and it matters. Here's what happens after she leaves. At first, she feels a rush. The nervous system reads change as progress. New apartment, new routines, new people, new possibilities. For a moment, it feels like proof she was right, because if leaving was the cure, the relief would hold. Then reality returns, because the same mind that felt something is missing inside the relationship still exists outside it. And if she never learned how to interpret normal discomfort, she will keep treating discomfort like a warning sign. She will keep chasing a feeling that no environment can permanently deliver. This is where the modern narrative becomes dangerous. It teaches women that happiness is their birthright and that any negative emotion is evidence of betrayal. If she feels bored, the relationship is wrong. If she feels anxious, the man is unsafe. If she feels unfulfilled, she must choose herself again. So leaving becomes a loop, and the loop is powered by two forces. First, expectation inflation. Every year, the list of what a man should be grows longer, not because women are wrong for wanting more, but because culture keeps selling fantasy as standard. He must provide and also be present. He must be emotionally deep and also unshakable. He must be ambitious and also always available. He must lead and also never feel controlling. He must desire her and also never pressure. It's a contradictory job description. Second, constant comparison. When you compare your real life to 1,000 edited lives, your real life will feel small. When you compare your partner to an imaginary perfect partner, your partner will feel disappointing. Comparison turns gratitude into contempt quietly, the way rust eats metal. There's also a biological piece people ignore. Novelty spikes dopamine. Change feels like relief. A new man, new attention, new flirting, new first dates. Your brain reads it as life returning. But dopamine is not peace. Dopamine is pursuit. When the novelty fades, you're left with the same internal climate you brought with you. And the culture confuses that spike for proof. See, I feel alive again. Yes, for a season. The danger is building a life around short-term chemistry instead of long-term meaning. Meanwhile, freedom has a hidden cost. When you remove the daily friction of compromise, you also remove daily opportunities to practice maturity. When you stop repairing, you stop strengthening. So the same patterns repeat. Idealize, compare, devalue, exit, repeat. The face changes. The script doesn't. This is why the happiest women I've seen aren't the ones who found a perfect man. They're the ones who built an inner skill, gratitude without denial, standards without fantasy, and the ability to sit with ordinary life without calling it failure. And when kids are involved, that skill matters even more, because children don't need a perfect romance. They need stable adults who can repair, not flee daily. So what is the solution? It isn't stay no matter what. It isn't leave no matter what. It's learning the difference between a genuine genuine problem and normal human weather. It's learning how to regulate your own disappointment instead of outsourcing it to your partner. It's learning to build meaning instead of chasing constant feeling. And men need to hear this too. If your partner says she's unhappy and she can't explain why, don't panic and start performing. Don't become a dancing clown trying to earn her mood. Be consistent, be present, but don't take responsibility for emotions that are not yours. Support is not self-erasure, because the moment a man tries to fix a void that lives inside someone else, he loses his frame. And when he loses his frame, respect bleeds out of the relationship. In the next part, we're going to put clear boundary around this topic. When leaving is justified, when staying is wise, and the one internal shift that makes a woman satisfied anywhere she goes. Now let's draw the line most people avoid. Leaving is justified when the climate is destructive. Abuse, chronic disrespect, addiction with no accountability, infidelity, ongoing cruelty, a partner who refuses repair. In those cases, staying isn't loyalty, it's self-betrayal. But leaving a decent relationship because it isn't a fantasy is different. That isn't empowerment. That is confusion dressed as confidence. Here is the internal shift that changes everything. Stop treating your emotions as evidence. Emotions are information, but they are not always truth. Discomfort can mean growth. Boredom can mean stability. Anxiety can mean unresolved wiring, not a wrong partner. If you learn to regulate your internal weather, you stop needing the world to constantly entertain you. This is why some women become happy anywhere, not because their man is perfect, because their expectations are sane, their gratitude is active, and their standards are real instead of imaginary. They can name a genuine problem and work on it without turning every imperfect moment into an exit sign. And men, this is your boundary. Do not perform for someone's mood. Do not become a servant trying to earn peace. Be consistent. Lead yourself. Communicate clearly, but never trade your identity for approval. The moment you abandon yourself to keep her, you create the very emptiness she will later blame on you. So what does repair look like if you stay? It looks like replacing fantasy with agreements. It looks like asking, are we both carrying the load, or are we keeping score? It looks like naming the real issue instead of blaming a vague feeling. It looks like building rituals that keep connection alive. Check-ins, real conversations, shared goals, shared play, and time without phones. It also looks like personal responsibility. If you feel dissatisfied, stop running and start examining your suitcase. What expectations did you pack without realizing? What did culture promise you that no human can deliver? What trauma patterns are you replaying as intuition? What comparison habits are poisoning your gratitude? Peace isn't found by swapping partners like outfits. Peace is built by changing your relationship with reality. And if you're a man watching this, understand the paradox. The more you chase someone's happiness, the more they resent you for failing. Support, yes. Rescue, no. Hold standards. Hold boundaries. Match effort. And if they refuse to meet you there, you don't beg. You step back and let consequence teach what words couldn't. If this perspective hit a nerve, that's normal. Real clarity feels sharp before it feels freeing. Like the video, if you got value, share it with a friend who's stuck in that silent confusion. Subscribe for more deep psychological breakdowns. Stay aware, stay grounded.